Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show, where we get real about the struggles dancers face, from confidence battles to self-doubt, and how dance has the power to make us braver, stronger, and more unstoppable in every area of life. I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Brazily Fitness. And whether you're a seasoned dancer, a dance instructor, dance lover, or someone who's always wanted to dance but feels a little intimidated to start, this show is for you. Expect honest conversations, inspiring stories, and simple ways to bring more dance into your life, whether that's in the studio, on stage, or right in your living room. And if you're a dance instructor, we've got you covered with tips on how to grow your dance business, attract more students, and create a bigger impact through your passion for movement. So if you're ready to step out of your comfort zone, own your movement, and dance yourself brave, let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Dance Yourself Brave show. I'm your host, Mariana Santos, founder of Brazily Fitness, and I'm so excited because I have another amazing dancer, Maurryn Sweeney, here with me today. How are you doing, Morin?
I'm doing great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. So Morin has actually been a dance instructor and makeup artist for 12 years. So two very creative fields. It's very cool. But why don't we start from the beginning? Tell us about yourself and how you got started with dance.
I got into dance when I was very, very young. My mother was actually a ballroom dance instructor. And a lot of times I would go to work with her. So growing up, I got to be around so much dance and getting to grow up seeing all of these dancers and all of their costumes and getting to sit in on their practices. It just became something that I just absolutely fell in love with. And as soon as I was old enough to start dance on my own, it was just something I took very seriously at a very young age. So it's always kind of been part of my life.
Love that. But I'm sure that, sometimes people hear this people have been dancing since they were kids. It must have been easy for them. But I'm sure that wasn't the case, right? Can you tell us about maybe some struggles that you faced along the way?
It definitely wasn't easy for me. Teaching dance, I have come to realize that what I thought as a kid made me strange was very normal. I was not naturally gifted at dance at all. And I had so many friends that had that natural innate talent that they had the technique naturally, they had the flexibility and the musicality, and it was not something that came easy to me at all. So it was something I worked at for a really long time, especially hurdling over certain health issues I had. I grew up with a birth defect that kind of stopped what I was able to do for a long time. So it was another one of those things that I kind of had to learn how to work around. But I also think it's what helped me become a better teacher, because I had to learn how to do this step by step instead of just kind of naturally having it. I know how to teach it now, especially to other kids that it might not come as naturally to.
Yeah, that's so true, like what you said, because sometimes we go through these struggles and it makes us better teachers because we can relate to other people's struggles on a more personal basis. And we know, tips and tricks that work for us, and then we can pass them along. So that's really interesting, because I think a lot of people think that dancers just have this, they're born with musicality and flexibility and all those things. And it's just not usually the case. There are some people who are, talented and they're born that way. But for the most part, there's at least a couple of things that we have to work towards, right? And put in
absolutely.
that effort. Yeah. And what do you think, going through this process, so besides making you an awesome teacher today, how has it shaped you as a person, and how does it affect your life?
It's really done a lot more for me than what I usually talk about, especially in way of connecting with other people. I was always a very kind of lonerish child, not really great with other people, but dancing both when I was a kid and then becoming a teacher, it's given me such a much more unique way of connecting, especially with the kids and even with the parents. That's something I've really, really learned how to do pretty well, is communicating with parents, because I feel like sometimes as teachers, it's easy for us to connect with kids, but it's a little harder to really connect with the parents. And that's something that it's it's given me a lot of a know-how.
Yeah, and I've heard that communicating with parents can be challenging sometimes. So that's great that you have those skills now, and I'm sure that it benefits you every single day, right? And
Yes.
what is something that you wish that your students knew about you? Maybe something that they'd be surprised to know, like something that be a little bit shocking to them.
Working with as many kids as I have now, I get very close to a lot of the kids, and they always tell me that I have kind of a standoffish, kind of no-nonsense personality when teaching, which has always been so funny to me because what I don't think they realize is that I get just as invested in their routines as they do, sometimes more so. And every single time one of their routines wins, no matter the place or the scoring, for me, it feels very much like I've won as well. I get very, very invested in their routines because I want to see them win. And I also love getting to see something that I've created connect to a dancer and then getting to see how they connect it to a stage. So that's something I always kind of wish that they would know, is that I connect and care for their routine just as much as they do. And that it's not just kind of like I choreographed, you can take it, I have other things to do. It's always, every routine is so, so personal to me.
That's beautiful. It shows that you're passionate about what you do and you take it seriously. And what kind of impact do you think that you're looking to make in the world? So this could be like through dance or even through like your makeup side. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want mine to, first and foremost, to be remembered, of course. I feel like everyone always wants to be remembered. But more specifically, I want to be remembered as the creative person that I am. And I want that creativity to be remembered through how many people it's helped, because working with so many kids from so many different backgrounds, from so many different situations, connecting with these kids, you realize that for some of them, dance is all they have. And I want mine to know that my legacy is that I have helped some kids have something to hold on to sometimes. Just to be that kind of hand, to be that rock of some sort. That's what I would want more than anything.
That's a big, big thing and very important, right? I'm sure lots of kids need that. And it's great that you're there kind of to hold their hand through the ups and downs. And speaking of students, is there a success story that maybe comes to mind, like a recent story that, a student came up to you with like this win that you both celebrated together? Is there anything you can think about?
There's a couple of students that in my time teaching that I have become closer to than most. I have two dancers that I kind of call my Maddie squared. We had two girls named Maddie, and they both connected to me really, really closely. I've worked with them since they were 4 years old. One of them is driving now, so it's a very, very jarring thing for me to see them grow up like this. But when they both started, they were both so kind of withdrawn, very to themselves, and getting to see them grow and become these very lively, very outward, just social, successful people has been very, very close to my heart, because they're definitely, those two girls have always kind of been my true babies. As far as the first time I started really teaching, those were the two kids I first ever connected with. And so getting to watch them move closer and closer to the end of their high school years and see them become older dancers and get higher scores, win more awards, and feel confident about it, because they were always both so kind of nervous about competition. But getting to see them kind of transform into what they always called the dancer goals. They would always, both of them would always be so obsessed when we went to competition. We would see a team of girls come in, and they all had the matching low ponytails and the matching tracksuits. And they always looked like they were just ready to go. Like they weren't nervous, they weren't scared. And now that they're older, they have become those girls. And I'm so proud of them, and proud that I've had such a hand in helping them along to get to that point. And They're definitely my little successes.
I love that. And I love how they were able to break out of their shell through dance. And I think that that is the most beautiful thing that happens with dance. It just allows you to kind of peel off the layers that maybe aren't serving you in the way that you'd like, right? And yeah, and like I think even if they continue on as, they don't want to dance professionally or something, like I'm sure everything they've learned and that confidence they've built through dance is going to serve them no matter what they choose to do in their life.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So what do you think the world needs more of nowadays?
Gosh, I want to say more of a freedom to be silly, because I feel like a lot, especially these days, this sort of, I guess what younger kids are calling cringe culture has kind of taken over, and it's definitely come into the dance spaces as well, because I've worked with several teenagers that I would be teaching and choreographing, and we would get to maybe a segment of the dance, and suddenly they wouldn't dance. They would say, I don't know, this feels cringy. This feels kind of weird. I think I'm gonna look cringy. And it would always be more contemporary or modern based dance. And then the very next week they would come in with this competition video from another team, and they'd say, oh, we want to do this, and I'll have to go, I tried to teach you that last week. You said you didn't want to feel cringy. And it's definitely something that I feel like needs to disappear from dance, especially because dance is such an open area for so many kinds of creativity, so many kinds of movement. And so I think we definitely need more of that freedom of expression back, because it's one of those things. That's what, at least for me, in my opinion, what really makes a dance is when your dancers are fully free in their choreography. They're not worried about how one foot looks, or they're not worried about if this turn makes them look funny, that they're just in it. And I definitely think that's something that we need more back in the dance community, because it's definitely affecting the younger generation for sure.
Yeah, and it's never cringy to just like have fun and be yourself, right?
Exactly.
And I think that life is already so serious, right? We have to, like, everything is so monotone sometimes, and like, why not just use dance as a way to just play, like, and have fun and not think about what other people are gonna be thinking, or if they think it's cringy or not. But it's interesting that you bring that up, because yeah, like I haven't heard about that before. Like I've done quite a few interviews so far, and like no one's talked about like the cringiness in the dance world. So it's interesting.
It's kind of rolling in everywhere, especially with this young generation. They're so worried about looking cringe no matter what they do, and it's something that it just baffles me.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, you're never gonna be like good enough for every single person. There are people who are gonna love you, and other people who are going to hate you for the same reason that those people love you, right? So like, just kind of be yourself, stay in your lane, and then the right people, like the people who are supposed to be part of your life, like they will gravitate towards you, right? And and I think that's the best we can do. But I know that with teenagers, it's really hard for them to understand that. They just want to be liked and all of that stuff, right? But that's why if they have, great mentors like you and, other support systems, they can get through this phase a little bit easier, I think. So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting to dance, or maybe they're curious about dance and they haven't taken that first step? Keeping in mind, maybe, not kids like that you usually work with, but people listening to this podcast, maybe a little bit older and maybe never had the opportunity to dance as a kid. What would you tell them?
I would tell them it's so worth it no matter the age. I had been out of dancing myself. I had only been a teacher for a long time now. And when I recently moved, I realized how much I missed it being the dancer and not the teacher. And I was so anxious about going to an adult dance class, because I felt like I had been out of the game a little too long. I felt I was nervous. Maybe I'm too old to get back into it. But I found an adult all women's heels class. And I have now been going for nearly 2 years. And it's given me not just my love of dance back, but it's also given me this sense of community, which I feel like people tend to forget about when it comes to dance. It's not just an activity. Dance can also give you such a strong community support. And that's exactly what I've gotten out of it, more than just relearning how to move my body, but connecting with other women my age that are also, because for every woman that you see in class that might be doing this longer than you, that you think, oh my gosh, she's incredible, there's also going to be just as many women on your same side that are also coming in for the first time, that are also nervous, that are also kind of hesitant to really go all in. And it's worth it, though, because you get so much out of it, so much more than just learning a routine.
Yeah. And I think that, how old are you?
I am 27.
Okay. So you're 27. I'm going to be 39 this year. And I feel like once we get, closer to around 30, it gets harder and harder to make friends, right? Like when we're not in school anymore, and then it can be very easy to like just feel that sense of loneliness, right? So actively looking for community makes a big difference. And like you said, dance can give you that, right? Because then you're surrounded by people who are on similar journeys, right? They're all looking to, step out of their comfort zones, do something for them. So you can tell that they most likely will have similar mindsets, right? So you'll find things in common. So it's such a great way to make friends, right? And, besides all the other amazing benefits dance can offer, right? But even just for the social aspect, I think is like an incredible way to spend your time.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to people who want to reach out to you? Maybe they're in your area and they're interested in classes, workshops, or whatever you have going on. Feel free to share everything here.
Well, what I like to say is my door is always open. I'm also a very big open book. Anyone, anytime can, if they want to, they can approach and talk to me. I'm a very social creature. As far as classes, I currently work at a youth center. I'm teaching for a youth center on an Air Force base, so I'll be working with a lot of military kids. I've also considered kind of expanding outside of that and opening my own studio, which would definitely be a big undertaking. It's me on my own for the first time. I worked for a dance studio for about 11 years. I started as a part-time student. I was a dancer there, and as soon as I was in my senior year, I begged to teach the baby classes or just help anything. And so they let me do that. And as soon as I graduated, I told them I wanted to be a full-time teacher. And so that I've spent so much time working at a studio and getting all of that experience under me that this recently is the first time I'm going to be the one in charge now. So it's definitely exciting. And hopefully if this keeps going as uphill as it has been, I will have not just the youth center, but a full studio in the Biloxi area. So anyone that would like to reach out, or even just to talk one-on-one, whether it's, another adult trying to get back into dance that feels nervous or anything like that. I am all over social media. I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, very easy to find.
And all your links will be in the show notes. So just scroll down so you can click and reach out to Morin as easily as possible. And that's super exciting about your starting a studio. Like I wish you all the best with that. And I have no doubt that all the skills that you've acquired through dance will help you with that, because this is what I always say. We all were put on this planet with one purpose that we're meant to fulfill, and we hear that calling. And sometimes it feels big and scary, but when we can build confidence and resilience through dance, then when we start to hear that little voice calling us to do that, then we'll have the courage to actually, take that first step and then wait for the next step to appear and just like keep going one step at a time. So I have no doubt that you're going to be successful, and I'll be rooting for you. And I'm sure that next time you come on the show, we'll talk about maybe your grand opening or something.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. And like I said, I hope for part 2 soon. And thank you for tuning in today. If this is your first time on the show, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, leave a review, because that's the best way for other people to find our show and get inspired, and so we can share the dance love all across the globe. Thank you again, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Dance Yourself Brave show. If today's episode got you hyped, inspired, or just made you want to bust a move, do me a favor. Subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who needs to hear today's message. Sharing is caring after all. And hey, don't forget, your courage is already in you. Sometimes you just gotta dance it out to feel it. Catch you next time. Keep shining and keep dancing yourself brave.